Awesome. So we got Nicole Cruz from New York City. What's happening, Nicole?
Andreas, I'm so happy to be on here with you.
Yes, me too, me too, me too. And I've been meaning to do this since I started the podcast because I know you help so many women and give so much value and everything. And so I just, I know that, and then I watched you give your talk at the summit in Canada. And so that was awesome. You nailed that one. So that was really good value and everything. So I enjoyed it. And so I couldn't wait to like, talk to you more and learn more about everything that you're doing and have a conversation.
Wow, thank you so much. I mean, those kind of compliments coming from someone I see as highly as I see you just means so much. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. And I think like what I think what we're doing is like so much bigger than any one of us, like, and I think, at the summit, I think it was so cool to watch. I think to watch that like, how was it? I guess we can talk about that since we're here, and so just for the people listening, is this event that we did in Canada. And so I guess we'll jump into it. How was it for you, and as a coach and as a speaker, and as everything, starting all of that, and how was that?
Oh man, well, I mean, I spent a few months helping you guys plan it. I know you guys were working on it for much longer, and I kind of came in at the tail end of the year before we got there. And so as we were planning it, you create images in your head of what you think it's going to be, what you think it's supposed to be about. And everything there just far surpassed my expectations on so many levels. I mean, the quality of experts. I mean, like I was pretty familiar with you already. But there were a bunch of other people there that I wasn't as familiar with, and getting to know them, getting to know their practices, it just blew my mind. I was so humbled to be there. Like when I came back, I just kept telling people, I'm like, I don't know why I was invited. I don't know what's going on here. These people are amazing. Like, why am I here? It just like, I definitely had to get over some imposter syndrome for sure. And then I just wanted to pick everybody's brain. I mean, to get people of that high quality of expertise and, I mean, knowledge, but also wisdom and experience, those are all kind of distinct. And I feel like the people there really had a good balance of all of it. And to be able to pick everyone's brains was like a dream come true. I'm such a nerd. And to me, just put me in the middle of people with that much knowledge and wisdom and expertise. And I just loved picking everyone's brains the entire time. It was amazing. And then, of course, there was the personal transformation part, too. We all go there for there's the professional side of it, and there's our mission. But part of that mission means that we are being the change, right? So it means that we are living more holistically. We are living by those values. And so we go there and we're transforming ourselves as much as we're there on, for a business project. And that probably surprised me the most, how deep that personal transformation was. I mean, I don't know if you remember when we went there, we had talked about intentions, and I said, I just want to be a more present mom. I feel like I'm so busy and I'm doing so much. And then when I have time with him, I'm just burnt out or my brain is scattered, and I want to be more present. And I came back and magically somehow I was. And that just speaks volumes. I mean, the time in nature, the energy from everybody, the positive influence, the shift in mindset that happens when you're surrounded with people with our values, who are like-minded, who just kind of, if you have to move in a certain direction, being surrounded by people also going in that direction just kind of pushes you through like a current. And that's my long answer to that question.
That's awesome. Yeah, I agree. Like, for me too, it was amazing. Like, and like, you're right. Everybody like surpasses, like watching you like talk. It was like so many different value. I mean, and just interacting, like you said, with you and everybody there, and so much wisdom and expertise, and being out in nature, and then you come back and it's like recharged. Yeah, yeah, for me too. Um, and so I guess um, what's coming up in my mind is how for you this whole, because what you talked about was about the business and how that's evolved for you, and how you've kind of um, evolved your business, and then how did it all start for you? How the super busy mom movement start, and how did that all start? What was your goal, and how did it start?
Oh man, it sort of started by accident. It's not like I sat down and thought, "Hey, I want to start my own business." It just kind of happened. So it was the summer of 2016, and Eric, my son, was like one and a half, and at the time I had a business with his father. It was a gym. It was more of like a fitness martial arts studio, a small boutique kind of thing. But in April of that year, well, first in February of that year, I lost my brother, which crushed me, as anyone could imagine, who has experience, who has a sibling and could imagine that experience. Just like, it's like having a piece of your soul just severed. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, the wound can heal, but that it never grows back. It's like an amputation of your soul. That's what it feels like to me. So I had that, and then that was February, and then in April, my then husband, Eric's father, left me. And so I was in a really rough place emotionally, but also logistically. Like, all of a sudden, I find myself a single mom. uh the business was, I mean, obviously, as you can imagine, when the founders are getting divorced, the business doesn't go so well. And so I had this business just, crumbling, and you can imagine the, financial after effects of that. Ended up fighting the bank to keep my home. It was difficult on a lot of levels, emotionally. It was draining, like what I had to do, what my schedule was like. Financially, it was really tough. Mentally, because it was a lot of figuring out how to put out different fires, like, oh crap, I'm facing this problem, and there's no easy, no obvious solution, and I have to figure it out. And so I was drained on so many levels. And I'm really like when I think of fitness, for me, it's not like bikini season. I mean, that's like a nice bonus that comes with being fit, and I don't complain about that, but that's not the core motivation for me. It's really the health benefits and the mental benefits. Like, I depend on those, I need those in order to stay sane and to handle everything I handle. And so here I was, the owner of a gym, and I had no time to work out. And I needed it more than ever. Like, I needed the nutrition, I needed the health, I needed all of the practices that I had been developing over the years. I needed them more than ever, and I couldn't make it work. And for a long time, it just didn't work. And I had to deal with the consequences, which felt pretty horrible. And then at one point, it just occurred to me, like, you know what? I can't just wait for things to settle down to try to go back to what I was doing before. My life has fundamentally changed, and it's not going back. And there's a good chance what worked before will never, ever, ever work again. And so I have to figure out a new approach. And I think I'm fortunate that in this situation, I had that background in fitness and nutrition in order to be able to go back to the fundamental principles and figure out how they could apply to the conditions of my life at that moment. And so I ended up developing a fitness regimen for myself that allowed for interruptions. I chose workouts that get optimal results in short bursts with plenty of rest in between, so that I could do a set and then be a mommy, and then do a set and be a mommy, and kind of scatter them flexibly without decreasing the results. Like I didn't want to water down anything. That's just not, who wants to do that, honestly? You know, and I ended up, I figured I'd get slow, steady results, and I ended up getting results consistent with what you would expect from a normal regimen. And it wasn't just that. I also supplemented with active play with my son, but I pretty much separated out the different roles of fitness to have some be more informal and then decrease the amount of time I had to spend on the formal stuff. And I ended up getting results exactly like you'd expect from a regular regimen. And I was like, oh, I wonder what's out there like this. And then there was nothing out there like this. And I was like, a lot of moms could benefit from this. Why hasn't anyone done this already? And so I named it the Super Busy Mommy Workout. I recruited moms online from around the world to test it out. And yeah, I had like this test group. I wanted to see if other people saw results like mine. And when they did, business was born.
That's awesome. That's great. And so that must have been a pretty hard time. And then so like with your, so then all the regimens are pretty much, you know, 5 minutes long, or like even shorter, like 30 seconds, and then you rest, or how does it work?
Yeah. So, okay, there's two parts, because there are two things you need for a successful fitness regimen. One, you need to burn enough calories and move in general, right? Like you could have the best workout for 8 minutes, but if you're sitting on your butt the rest of the day, that's not going to get you really fit. And even if it was enough to change how you look, or like, you're just not going to be fit from the outside, from the inside out that way. And so you really need to be getting enough movement in general. You know, you need a variety of different movements, you know, just going for a stroll, while that's really great and you can do that, doing only that isn't enough. You know, you need to move your arms, your legs, you jumping, twisting, bending, different movements. But that doesn't have to be formal and structured in order to see those results. And so for that part of fitness, I depended on active play with my son. And so I'd throw him up, slam him on the bed. He still asked me, he's like, "Mommy smash, Mommy," you know, and he's 4 years old and he still loves Mommy smash. And
You're gonna be like 40 and you're gonna be like,
yeah, I mean, I have to work out because I have to be able to Mommy smash him forever, right? He's big. He's big for his age, and he has tall jeans. He's going to be like 6'4", like 215 pounds. And I'm going to be like, "You better not mess with me because I will Mommy smash you." So yeah, that's important. So yeah, I aimed for an average of an hour of active play a day. And that's like an average, because some days things just, you know, when you're a mom, things don't go as you plan. So you aim for that. Sometimes it didn't work for, you know, pretty long periods of time, and I had to get back into it, but it's all good. And so then once you were getting enough movement in general, in order to see progressions in fitness, you actually, depending on your fitness goals, you don't have to dedicate that much time, right? Once those two things are separate. So the other thing that you need is progressive overload, or just new challenges. You need new challenges for your body so that you tell it to adapt and get fitter. And so I chose types of workouts that are best done in short bursts with rest in between. And so basically, I'll have, you know, each exercise is separate. You don't have to stack them on all together into a workout, right? You get the same results even if you do one here and then do one later and do one later. And so I have, you know, whatever body part you're working out, quick warm up just to get the joints, like blood flowing through the joints, like 30 seconds. And then you do a set, you know, 1 minute active recovery, another set, active recovery, third set, and then just stretch it out. And so in all, that's a 6 minute, I call it a 6 minute segment. And there's 14 of those. And so that averages 2 per day, but you can stack them or move them around however you want, really. And so that's how.
2 6 minute a day.
Yes.
2 6 minute a day.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. You know, it's so
yeah.
because I used to do rest. I was doing rest pause training. And then I don't know if it was like we were having an interview or something, or I heard you talk about the progressive overload. So I started like, okay, what is this? and it's insane what our bodies can do. Like, so I started just doing like 2 times the way that I thought that it was my maximum. And then the first day you can't even barely move the weight, but then eventually like you start getting the results. And I think it was you just saying that made me like realize. And another guy at the gym was talking about how when he was lifting or whatever, and then I was like, wow, like I wonder how much can I do. And then you said the progressive overload, and I never heard it like described that way. And it's crazy the amount of fast results that your body can do, right?
That's amazing. I'm so glad that you were able to take that and incorporate it into your regimen. That makes me so happy. That's awesome. Good for you. Yeah, I mean, and I think that's one of the problems, because while it's changing and moving in a positive direction, a lot of us moms, grew up with the idea that, well, first of all, mom workouts are done with fuzzy pink little dumbbells. Aren't those adorable? And then, and not only that, for workouts for women, right? You'll have Muscle Magazine, and it'll like have all of these super strenuous workouts for men to go and do on their own. But when the idea of like a workout for women, it's like, oh, well, you got to be careful because she could injure herself. And it's like, what about Muscle Magazine? Guys can go do that on their own. Why can't we do something similar on our own? Like, either way, we're both human beings who can get injured, right? But so there was this idea that you're not supposed to have women use heavy weights in like an at-home workout like that. And so that didn't make any sense to me, because you're like, that's the biggest mistake that I see moms make. So they carve out any time that they can, right? So if they have 5 minutes, 15 minutes, they're like, let me fit in something. And then what do? The thing I hear the most, regular body weight squats. Okay, so they bend down and they get back up without holding any kind of weight. Now, I give them credit because, first of all, like, they don't have a background in fitness. They're not supposed to know anything more than that, and they're doing whatever they can. So that's awesome. But now someone with a fitness background comes in and sees that, and it's like, okay, you have a 30-pound child. Do you pick up that child? Yes. Have you ever picked up that child on one hip and then bent down and picked something up off the floor? Of course. So you just did a squat with 30 pounds. Okay, and that's what you're doing throughout the day. So in order for you to get results, you have to do more than your body's used to doing on a regular basis, which means that you should be using probably 20-pound dumbbells and squatting with 40 pounds at least, possibly more, in order to be getting those results. Now, of course, if you want to do like an endurance type workout and you're going to do like 200 squats, or whatever, 100 squats followed by 50 lunges on each side and split squats and jump squats, like all together like that for endurance, that's awesome. But most moms don't have that much uninterrupted time. So it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's like Laird Hamilton was talking about that. So somebody was asking him, like, so, because he does he's the big surfer. And so, like, for surfing, mom was trying to learn, like, breath holding, and they do a lot of temperature, cold bathing, hot, heat, and I try to do that all the time. Training, I actually did it with one of the guys, with John, when we were in Seattle one time. And then he's always talking about, you got to stress the system. You have to stress the system. So it's like that's so true, what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
That if I'm used to doing this, I have to change and do something else that stresses the system. Even if you're picking up 100 pounds, then you got to do 120.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, or you do more and then you come back, because then that doesn't seem to be so bad anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and it's almost like that's it's almost like that's the sweet spot for us to be able to, what they call the flow state, that 20% that you're actually pushing, and then you have mastery, but then you push yourself, always constantly pushing, stressing the system. That's what we were built to do as human beings,
Yeah, no, I love that. Stressing the system is such a good way of putting it. And that's what we're meant to do. I mean, that's what we're meant to do as human beings. Like, that's deep.
Yeah, and then it hurts, right? Doesn't it? Like, like for instance, like the way I'm training right now is like a month. So I do a month of one movement just when I'm doing different training. But then if I move into the next month, then those next muscles cannot handle the weight that I've been doing. So like let's say if I'm doing just like straight up dumbbells or something, and then I go to shoulders, then the shoulders are not strong, and so it's almost like your brain wants to trick you and talk you out of it because you're not so good at it. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's almost like our brains, and the same with business, I think, right? Like, I don't know, do you see this in your clients where it's just painful to do something new?
Yeah, it's funny because that's, I think, the biggest hurdle I had to overcome with my clients, because one of the things that they tend to have in common, and I mean, I share this with them, is that, a lot of times we're overwhelmed. We have, we're burning the candle at both ends, and we have a lot on our plates, and it gets overwhelming. And so part of it is the psychological overwhelm you feel learning something new, right? So you give someone something new to do, and even if it only takes a few minutes, your brain can just psych you out of it. And so I had to put a lot of thought into how I roll it out to make it more fun and curiosity inducing, instead of, like the first time when I rolled it out to the test group, it was like, okay, here it is, here's your instruction sheet, and then here are the videos, and there you go. Like, let me know how it works out. And that didn't work. I mean, it did, obviously, like the ones who did it got results, but my compliance rate was lower than where I wanted it to be. And so now with the people, in my program, I have a extreme, like almost near a 100 compliance rate, because I'm rolling it out differently. Instead of saying, here's everything, I'm saying, here's this 1 2-minute action step, go, report back. Here's another, this is a 6-minute action step, report back. It goes at the pace that people can learn, and it goes at the pace that matches the amount of time that my clients have. And so they're consistently adding more and more, building on top of what we've already done, gradually building this new nutrition regimen, making the lifestyle changes, gradually building up the fitness regimen in a way that's kind of fun, because you don't know what to expect next. And then sometimes they get like a surprise package at their door with some, new foods to try or new fitness equipment that I want them to use. And they're like, oh, what am I going to do with this? And it's like, I put a little note, text me when you get it, and then I tell them what to do with it. And then they're like, trying it out like a new toy, as opposed to, oh, well, today's day 8. Let me go find day 8 in my, whole big folder of stuff. And, it's different. And so playing around with those psychological aspects, like, yeah, sometimes pushing yourself is painful. And then there are certain times when you shouldn't be pushing yourself to the point of pain in order to get the results you want. And so what's better for burnt out moms who are overwhelmed? So I had to think about that, right? Like when you do muscular endurance workouts, you get that burn and you have to push through that burn, and it's really unpleasant. When you do workouts for, max strength or hypertrophy, your muscles literally give out and fatigue before you start feeling pain. That's pretty cool. Why not do that if you're an overwhelmed, burnt out mom who can barely get herself to get the willpower to work out? Make it easy.
Well, that's cool. And when you were starting this, what was the biggest obstacle you think for you when you were starting? Like, I guess right at the end of when you were closing down your brick and mortar, huh? And then
Yeah, so the brick and mortar actually stayed open for a while, but I pulled myself out of it, and my ex was running it that time, and then it, inevitably, I knew it was going to go under. It was not in good shape. But yeah, so when I kind of pulled myself back from it, the biggest obstacle was time and resources, right? So like I said, I was fighting the bank to keep my home. So you could imagine what my finances were looking like. So I couldn't invest in order to make this work. And I was, leaving the house before 6 a.m. and not getting back. This is for work. I had a job, I wasn't just at, when the business started doing bad, I went out and got a job because we needed a family income. And so I was waking up before 6 a.m., leaving the house before 6 a.m. in order to catch the train. My job was and still is an hour and a half away from my home, which it's not crazy if you're a New Yorker. Like, that's pretty common, actually.
Yeah,
But
I hear you.
you've lived in New York,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So when you say that, other people are like, oh my God. And I'm like, oh, it's really not that serious. Like, it sucks, but it's not that serious, people. But yeah, so it was an hour and a half, and then, I would work. And then I'd have to take the train an hour or so to get to the gym, check in with staff, to take care of a couple behind the scenes things, maybe take my son hour-long bus trip home, get home like 9:30, 10 o'clock. So when was I supposed to do this? Good thing it's online. So that meant that while my train was above ground, that was my time to build this business. So that was like, 20 minutes each way. And that's also my time to do everything else on the internet I have to take care of, make it, call insurance companies, whatever the case may be. So really it came down to like 15 minutes a day. And so, I mean, you know how I am. You share this quality. You're the same way. What would you do in that situation? You would look for information and say, how to build a business from the ground up with $0 and 15 minutes a day. I found zero resources. So then what do? You reach out to the experts, right? So if someone does coaching or whatever, you reach out to them and you say, hey, I don't think your program is really going to fit my life right now, but I'd be really interested in doing some kind of, program where I could learn this. And maybe I'll really scrape up and do a single session with you. And then once I get a return on that investment, I'll, use that to reinvest in more coaching with you, because I want to learn how to build this business up in 15 minutes a day. So I got answers like, well, you should probably wait until things settle down in your life. And I'm like, yeah, there's no indication of that happening. They're not going to just settle down. I have to settle them down. I need to do something. I can't just sit back passively and wait. Or some people are like, yeah, that's not possible. It's not going to happen. So I had to figure it out on my own. And it was, a long time with very little reward. And it's building up very slowly, but it's building up. For a long time, I thought I was wasting my time. I mean, it was so inconsistent. Like, I'd have a client here, a couple months later, get another client, a couple months later, sell the home workout. It was like, what am I doing? But, I kept at it because, I heard, you have to build, and, we did the London Reel course together. That was part of it. But even that, applying, like, wow, that was a really great course. Given the amount of time I could spend on it, the structure we learned there wasn't effective for me, because I just couldn't put the time into it on a consistent basis that would make it work. And so it just, like, I had it there and I got zero results from it. And I know, like this thing, people are always like, you should try this, you should try that, you should do this, you should do that. And I'm like, dude, the problem isn't that I don't know 1,000 things I can try. Tell me what I shouldn't be doing. That would help me. Tell me the thing I'm doing that's a waste of time, so that I can take that out and start trying all of those things, right? But so that's what it was for me. And it took a lot of trial and error. But now, I have a consistent business and it's growing. And I am really, like, at first it seemed like a crazy idea, but now it doesn't seem so crazy that this could take over as my full-time job within the next few years. I mean, I knew it was a long-term plan. I'm not in this situation, and I never was in the situation to, just go into the deep end. I tried that with the first business. I'm not going to do that anytime soon. That was, you know, that's a romanticized experience. You read it in books and stuff. The people who go, you know, just jump into the deep end, quit their day jobs and just go full time with their new business, and it doesn't work, they don't really write books. So yeah, lesson learned. So I have a long-term plan and it's going really well, and we'll see what happens.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think the average, they say like the average successful business, you know, millionaire business is like the 10th. So by the time we hear that story where somebody dropped out and did something and it worked, it's like their 10th time dropping out. And, you know, and so it's like it took 10 years for this overnight success that we hear, you know, and so it's
Put
like,
that as a disclaimer, shouldn't they?
right? Yeah, I know. Wow. And if you were to, you like, if we think through like some of your clients, for instance, is there a story that that is up in your mind that you're proud of, you know, that you're like, wow, you know, that's so cool that we got that done, or that I mean, you kind of help and then they do their work, of course, you know, but is there a
Mm-hmm.
story that sticks up in your mind of one of the woman, one of the moms that have worked with you?
Oh man, it's like I can think of them, but I don't remember off the top of my head how much they shared publicly, and I don't
Right.
want to breach confidentiality.
Overall, maybe if because I completely understand that, and then like overall from the moms that you work with, if that's not something that pops up easy, that doesn't compromise any confidentiality, then as a group, what is like one of the things that is so rewarding to start seeing, you know,
Mm-hmm.
when you start working with all these women?
Yeah, I think one of the common things I hear is I'm stronger than I ever thought I would be. I'm lifting more than I ever thought I could. You know, busting through that idea that moms mess around with fuzzy little pink dumbbells. Oh, God, I hate those. They're cute as an ornament. I'm kidding. They have their place. Everything has a place. Just most mom workouts don't use them in their place anyway. But yeah,
The
so that's one
toy.
of the things. Yeah, they're good for, like, you know, like certain endurance workouts, for rehab, you know, for people who are really just like beginning or have some sort of weakness. But for moms who are lifting like 40-pound children, probably don't need the fuzzy pink dumbbells, sorry. But yeah, so I think
Gotcha.
that's one of the things I hear. Things like my husband's getting intimidated of me now. My husband wants to work out because I'm getting stronger than him. Those are fun stories. Probably my favorite is, and this happens all the time and it warms my heart because I don't ask for these, but I just get the things I tend to get are videos. First of all, they are cute. Like to see a 2-year-old, you know, try to do some power burpees. It's just, you know, or some squats. It's really cute. And sometimes they'll get them, you know, or I'll get them as a little gift if I know their kids are starting to do it. The toy dumbbells for children. But yeah, that's rewarding because these habits, you know, when a parent, when a mom makes these habits a part of her life, it becomes a part of her children's lives and it bleeds over to the rest of the family. I'll get stories, you know, now my parents have seen my progress and they've asked me to help them change their diets, and, you know, those types of stories where it has that ripple effect. So the mom is improving her own health and her own life, but also in doing so, improving the lives and the health of the people around her. And that's probably the most rewarding part for me, to see it happen for the mom, to see the mom empowered, and then for the mom to see the power that she has to make changes in the people around her. It's empowering.
That's awesome. That's what it's all about. You know, like That's what, yeah, like you with of course now with social media, like all the likes and the comments and everything, and that of course that can translate, but like is this back end stories that you get that make that like what you just told me, like that's amazing, that's awesome. And because we're all gonna go in some shape, way or form, but it's like that progress that happened
Mhm.
empowers people so much and enhances our quality of life. And so
Mhm.
it's so awesome. Um, and so what's next for Super Busy Mom Coach?
Well, I am putting together my first ever group specifically for single moms.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. So, you know how with businesses, they say that thing that you don't want to do is probably the thing you need to do?
I hear you.
Yeah. So, what I don't like to do are post physique pictures or bikini pictures. And I also don't like to, like, I'm open with my personal story. As you know, I just shared it, but I don't like to just post it on, like, put it on blast. Like, hey, everyone, pay attention to me. Woe is me. I went through these hard times.
Right.
It doesn't feel right. Like, if someone cares enough to ask, I'll be open and sharing. But to just blast it out there just feels really, I don't know, uncomfortable. It's not me, like, I don't take my personal hardships and put them out there for attention. And so I came to I was actually after the summit, and after that I just had like so much hope and belief in myself because of seeing that how much hope and belief you guys had in me. It really had an impact on me. And I was like, am I gonna do this or not? And so I went to the beach and I propped my phone up against the beach bag and I was in a bikini and I lifted my son up in the air, put the timer on the phone, lifted my son up in the air and took a picture. Okay, really, I took like 30 pictures, and most of them I went through and, like too many of us women are raised to be, I was like, oh, stretch marks, oh, too much cellulite, oh my God, I look fat. No, 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 no. And while I hate that mentality, it's like, it's so
Wow.
hard to escape it. And I finally found one where I was like, okay, this isn't completely embarrassing. And so I put it up there and I wrote a post with the whole backstory I gave you today and put it out as an ad. And I just wanted to like run and hide. But yeah, so I did that and I made it specifically about single moms with the idea that, I had been playing around, like, should I narrow down what I do even further or would it be too narrow, like working with busy moms, is pretty good. And especially the ones I reach out to, like I look for moms with certain interests, like the moms who were really into fitness and always enjoyed it and were really fit, and then now they still value it but don't know how to fit it in, as opposed to, say, I do get some like total beginners, but mostly I'm reaching out to those moms as opposed to the ones who are doing it for the first time necessarily. And I was like, okay, that's already pretty specific. I don't know if I should do anything more than that. And I just decided to try it, and the response has been crazy. um, so first of
Awesome.
all, I'm getting, a lot of moms who are going through situations that sound like the one in that post, like
Yeah.
that rock bottom kind of situation. And they're reaching out, like asking me, like sharing with me like intimate details of their lives, which is like an honor that they would feel comfortable enough to share that. And they're just like, I don't know what to do. And it's just been really rewarding to have conversations with these moms, really rewarding. And I'm really looking forward to putting this group together, because I think it's it's needed, you know, like I feel like there's like, oh, I want to start a business because I want to be a business owner, or oh, I'm going to start this because I want to be a coach. That sounds pretty cool, working on the internet and like traveling around. And then there's this need that's not being fulfilled, you know? And I feel like with the mom workouts, there's definitely some of that, because there was this need that wasn't fulfilled. But with the single mom stuff, the empowerment aspect of it, like the view of single moms as thriving, as being able to create lives that we love, to live these full lives. Like it's not this, we're not condemned to misery, you know what I mean? Like our lives aren't full of, you know, hardship and nothing else, you know, like it's missing. And I think creating a program for women who are single moms, you know, especially going through hard times, or maybe just found themselves single moms, that has this really optimistic outlook for single moms. Like it's not like, hey, let's get you by until you're not single anymore. Like it's like, no, like you decide your future whether you're single or not. And then focusing on health, because you know how that impacts everything else in your life. That to me has been really personally meaningful, and I hope that others find it to be too.
That's awesome, Nicole. That's great. Thank you for sharing, Nicole. And I think that's a good stop right now. I think my computer is about to die out here, and so that's perfect closing. And thank you so much for sharing with us your story and everything. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me on here. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. You're so full of insight and wisdom, and you just have this fire in you that's contagious. It's this beautiful fire that just can't be extinguished, and just keeps it, it catches anything you touch. You know, it catches on anything you touch. And I've been fortunate enough to be touched by it. So thank you.
And thank you too, because it's like bigger than any one of us. And thank you too, because I feel the same way, Nicole. And until next time.
Until next time.
Okie dokie. Take it easy.
Take care.
Okay, bye bye.